So we're here at the incredible Rhossili Bay. Behind me is the National Trust car park, which you'll want to park at, and where the hike starts. It's £6 for all day parking, and next to it are showers and toilets. But if we spin round, this is the incredible view you get from the car park. So behind me are the 3-mile golden sands of Llangeneth and Rhossili. Above the beach are Rhossili Downs at 193 metres at the highest point in the Gower Peninsula. And if we spin around again, that's where we're going to be hiking out to, Worm's Head, which is the most westerly point on the Gower Peninsula. The hike starts here from the car park, and it's 1 kilometre out to the old Coastguard station, and then it's 1 mile out to the tip of the worm. Now, why is it called Worm's Head? It's actually called Worm's Head because it's named after the Norse word verm, which means serpent or dragon. Not only does the shape look like a dragon, but apparently there's a large blowhole which during stormy weather creates large booming and hissing noises, which further convinced the Norse people that it was in fact a sleeping serpent. Oh, and in case you're wondering why there are no cars in the car park, it's because it's the lockdown, and I cycled here on the old noble steed. So hike starts this way, let's go! So I've made the short 1 kilometre walk from the National Trust car park down to the old Coastguard station. To get across to the worm, you have to cross the Causeway. The Causeway is only accessible 2.5 hours either side of low tide. And those tide times are usually displayed in a little wooden sign on the cliff top here, or in the old Coastguard station. They'll be posted on the wall there. It takes about an hour to get across to the worm's tip, and maybe a little bit less to get back, so bear that in mind. Don't try and cross too late, because you don't want to get stuck on there. Although it's beautiful, it's a waste of the hour's time. So I've just begun my descent onto the Causeway. The Causeway is kind of split into 3 sections. The first bit is like a little bit of a tricky descent, and then it flattens off, and it's sort of smaller rock pools and large pebbles. And then it gets a bit trickier with some more undulating, that's the word of the day, rock pools before you get to the inner head. There's no specific route across the Causeway. It's kind of whatever route you see fit. I tend to stick to the shoreline behind me, so I tend to follow the shoreline around before weaving slightly into the main section of the Causeway before getting to the inner head, but it's completely up to you. Causeway should take about 10 to 15 minutes to cross, so it's not that difficult. So I've just got across the Causeway to the inner head. Here you'll also find on the sign behind me the timetables to get across and back, so making sure you don't get cut off. But from here, once you reach the inner head, you have 2 options. You can go up and over the inner head, or you can go around the inner head. It's completely up to you. I'd recommend going up and over. It's not that difficult. It'll just give you some fantastic views back towards Rhossili and back towards the mainland, which on a day like this will be incredible. If you don't fancy the going up, then you can go around, but a bit wet if you do. So I'm up on the top of the inner head. As you can see, pretty breathtaking views back towards the mainland and Rhossili Beach behind me. Absolutely gorgeous. From here, you just continue onwards across the top of the head before dropping down. So once you have navigated the inner head, either going up and over or around it, you'll come to probably the most tricky section of the crossing, which is a little section between the inner and outer head, which is quite difficult to navigate at times. It's sort of up and down, there's lots of cracks. So yeah, this is probably the most difficult part. It's about 50 to 70 meters long, and again, there's no direct route through it. You can go down and around, but that'll take a lot more. So that was probably, well, that was in fact the trickiest part of the crossing. Like I said, for the sure-footed amongst you, you won't find that difficult, but some may struggle, and it'll take a little bit more time, but it's easily crossable and shouldn't take longer than 10-15 minutes. I crossed that in less than 2. But from here, you just carry on following the path over Devil's Bridge. Woo. So behind me is Devil's Bridge. To get across, just go up and over along the path. And speaking of the paths here, they are pretty good. Mostly dry mud and grass, occasionally a bit of rock and gravel underneath, but yeah, they're pretty sure-footed. So in terms of shoes, a decent pair of trainers will suffice. You don't need to go sticking the walking boots on and look like a proper kino. Definitely don't need the walking poles either, so leave them at home. So from Devil's Bridge, all you have to do is follow the path that we used round. So we're now on the outer head. And getting towards the tip. So yeah, the path goes up and over or around, it's up to you. They both end at the same spot. So before you make your way onto the tip of the worm, you have to navigate a small little rocky area. Again, not that difficult, shouldn't take you more than a minute. Again, no specific route, just pick and weave your way through. Final section requires a little bit of scrambling on all fours. It's quite steep, as you can see, but not that difficult. It's only about 20 to 30 meters of climbing. So I made it to the, bloody hell, nearly went then. Made it to the tip of the worm. It took me just under an hour to get here, and the tip is about 90 meters high and marks the most westerly point on the Gower Peninsula, which is Britain's first area of outstanding natural beauty. But enough of the geography and my ugly mug. The view behind me is simply stunning, so let's get some drone footage in. So beneath me, I found a little colony of seals. Come on, guys. Just chilling on the rocks. Kind of a body shape like me after this whole quarantine mess. But yeah, pretty awesome.